In Africa, yes. Because there is a policy of the American government. It's called the Kissinger Report, which was produced in the mid-70s when Henry Kissinger was involved with the government. And it explicitly states, which to this day, it remains the official policy of the American government. It has not changed. It may not be implemented by Trump, but it remains the same. That the purpose of the foreign policy in Africa was to reduce the population. So to give aid to countries in Africa, not clean water and schooling and things like that, but contraception and abortion, in order to shrink the population of Africa, because they have great mineral resources there.
That sounds diabolical.
Yes.
That sounds like something conceived in the mind of Margaret Sanger.
Yeah, definitely. And so at the time, Kissinger and those involved with the Carter administration wanted to shrink the population, make sure that the Africans do not develop and do not use the resources for themselves, because we in the States, we need them. There's a concerted effort of foreign powers to control the population of Africa. Africa is a huge continent, could feed thousands of more people, but the policies of the West, especially in Europe. For example, between 1990 and the year 2000, the United States, Canada, and Europe contributed about $6 billion in contraceptives. Not to help the people, not to give clean water, clean food. That is
not to fight malaria, for example.
No, of course, perish the thought. Never let them die. That's the whole idea. So, in our work in HLI, we denounced this reality to make the Africans aware.
Breaking news: Bill Gates has decided to give Kenyan women a gift they did not ask for, possibly not care for. But the gift that he has decided to give the Kenyan women is a gift of contraception. So he claims that it's going to be introducing one-of-a-kind IUD. Now, an IUD is something that is inserted in the neck of the womb and basically stops pregnancy for up to 8 years, and he claims it's one of a kind. And of course, it's not one of a kind, because this is something that has been tried and tested by very many women. And interestingly, women have been coming forward and giving testaments about the issues that they have had with this type of UED. It's not new, but he claims that it's new of its kind. It's just a hormonal UID, which basically can cause a myriad of issues, but also can stop pregnancy for up to 8 years. What is interesting is that Bill Gates has decided that he wants to help Kenyan women. He did not consult with Kenyan women to find out what their biggest need is. If, I don't know, I'm a Kenyan woman, and I know many Kenyan women, if you were to ask women in Kenya what their biggest problem is, would probably say rent or school fees for their existing children, or, access to employment. But he went straight for birth control. Now, this is the man who's been recently divorced, and he obviously has children, but he has decided to stop Kenyan women from having children because that is his gift to Kenyan women. Tell me, what do you think? Is this a good idea, or is this just another white man coming to Africa with their big ideas?
Yo, what's up with Bill Gates and this obsession of depopulation? Like, what's up with his obsession, man? Aren't these guys have enough power yet? Don't they have enough money? Like, why are they still out here trying to kill off the population? Why are they still out here trying to sell GMO seed? No, Bill Gates is in Kenya with Ruto, one of the biggest puppet in Africa, trying to sell contraceptive now. He already sold the GMO seed, which most farmer didn't want, but now he's back again, trying to give out contraceptive in Kenya. Contraceptive in Kenya. The ladies in Kenya don't need contraceptive, Bill Gates. What they need is jobs, opportunity, food, good health, not contraceptive. They don't need contraceptive. No, they don't need it. Childbirth is not the issue. The issue is you guys stole every fucking thing. Leave us with nothing. You guys hoarding the wealth. Leave us with nothing. That's the issue. Why aren't you going to Sudan? Go to Sudan. They're going through a genocide. Go to Congo. There's 1 million people that displaced in Congo.
Yeah, it's for the purpose of sterilization and population control. There's too many people on the planet we need to get rid of. In the words of Bill Gates, at least 3 billion people need to die. So we'll just start off in Africa. We'll start doing our research there, and we'll eliminate most of the Africans because they're deplorable. They're worthless. They're not part of this world economy. So they have their rights taken away, and they're suppressed, and they're experimented.
And the multilateral agencies and the health and regulatory so-called.
First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, health care, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
Somebody please make it make sense, because that shit makes no sense at all.
The number of babies in the world goes down a tiny bit every year of the century, but its mix goes from being 25% in Africa to 50% in Africa. And so Africa goes from 1 billion people to 4 billion people. So when we get to 11 billion, we're at 7 now, most of the increment is in Africa. The rest is the aging Asians living longer. That they go from 4 to 5 billion. And so in this report, we say, look, that's great, we got to 9%, but we could stay at 9% for the next 30 years unless we do a lot of really good investments in health and education and governance in Africa. One country in Africa, Nigeria,
Whose mess is this? You put him on the TV. Go home! Bro, don't. Go home!
Namibia says no to Gates Foundation birth control trials. Namibia's president, Her Excellency Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, has strongly rejected a proposal by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to trial an 8-year hormonal IUD in the country. In a bold statement, she described the initiative as a deep injustice to Namibia and humanity. Namibia is a small nation of just over 3 million people. If population control is needed, it should begin in countries with over 300 million, not here, she said. Her rejection sends a clear message. Africa deserves respect, not experiments.
I don't even know why this nigga still playing in African soil. I don't know. Why your ideas it's always about depopulate Africa? Why? Why? What do they think?
If you don't understand the destruction of Planned Parenthood offices, and you don't understand the wall that we're going to build on the southern border of the United States, you haven't read the book The Birth Dearth by Ben Wattenberg. Ben Wattenberg was a brilliant Jewish man who was a member of the American Enterprise Institute, and he wrote a book, the first paragraph of which says, "The main problem confronting the United States today is there aren't enough white babies being born in this country." He was an advisor to presidents of the United States. He wrote the book in 1987. He says if we don't change this and change it rapidly, white people will lose their numerical majority in this country, and this will no longer be a white man's land. Now, I'm not misrepresenting this. I'm telling you almost exactly what he says. He says there are 3 things we can do to solve this. Number 1, we could pay women to have babies, as they have been doing in Western European nations for years. Then he says, and these are his words, not mine, unfortunately, we would have to pay women of all colors to have babies, so we don't want to do that. He says the second thing we could do is increase the number of legal immigrants that are allowed into this country every year. Then once again he says, unfortunately, the vast majority of those wanting to come to this country today are people of color, so we don't want to do that. The third thing he says, and women had better pay attention to this, 60% of the fetuses that are aborted every year are white. If we could keep that 60% alive, that would solve our birth dearth. Does that sound like racism to you?
Out of the entire world's population, what percentage is white? Do you know what the real answer is? It's 7%. 7%. That means they don't even have the numbers to keep up white supremacy. What that means is either we're letting them keep it up or we're actively helping them keep it up because they don't have the manpower to do it by themselves. What if we all collectively said, I don't want to be in a place or support the ideas of white supremacy? it would be over. There's too many of us versus them. It would be over. This is such a game changer for me. 7%? They're only there because we keep them there.